With astrology-informed yoga classes, you can maximize positive planetary influences, minimize negative planetary influences, and live as your highest self. Visit discoverastroyoga.com and join the Astro Yoga experience to get ongoing guidance on how to change your yoga practice based on astrology.
Hello and welcome. My name is Hannah and I will be your guide today. We are working through a vinyasa flow. It's a beginner-friendly practice, and we're attempting to embody the energy of Taurus today. And when we think about the Taurus energy, it is very grounding, secure, stable, in fact. So we'll be integrating some really sort of earthing practices in terms of physically feeling the earth. It is related to the earth element as well, of course. And also we'll be working through our heart chakra, so noticeably opening up through heart and shoulders, and then also working up through the jaw as well and into the neck. So hop into something comfy and let's begin on our mats. So I thought that we would start with a pranayama practice, a breathing technique called Brahmani, also known as bee breath or buzzy bee breath. And this is a great way for us to open up through the throat and really bring us into a grounding, I am here right now moment. So if you can find your way to your mat, get yourself really comfy. You could always grab a cushion off from the sofa, from your couch, wedge that underneath. Some people like to place something under the knees as well. So feel free to grab whatever support that you need. Find your way onto the earth and try to sit up nice and tall. So you can always move a little bit of the flesh, the buttocks there, so that you really find yourself earthed. And then there's a few different ways of doing this, but I'm just going to show you the way that I feel quite comfortable doing. You can explore other ways at another time if you like to explore further. But I'm going to bring my hands and place my fingertips sort of into the bone of the eye socket, so along the eyebrows. And then with our thumbs, we're actually going to be placing those into the cartilage of the ears. So you might want to keep your eyes and your ears open just for a few more moments as I guide you to that place of zoning inwards. And ultimately we'll be humming, making that sort of humming buzzy bee sound. So you might also want to do this when there aren't too many things around. Hopefully my mascot over here, Phoenix, should be quite used to me doing it. But sometimes if we do these new things around our pets, it might send them a little bit wild. So just be aware that activity might happen around you, but see if we can bring a sense of calmness the more that we practice it, hopefully within. So I'll be placing my hands over the eyes, just lightly pressing fingertips around the eye socket, and then the thumbs will be placed into the ears and on top of the ear cartilage. So I'm not bringing the thumbs right inside there, just on top. So you'll press lightly down onto those, the cartilage of the ears. And then I'm going to invite you just to take a couple of deep breaths first. So not worrying about making any sound. If it feels right, you could also inhale through the nose here. And maybe you'd like to breathe it out through the mouth. I'm going to do 2 more. I invite you to join. And then upon our next exhalation, again, you might be observing for a few rounds. Join whenever you're ready. We'll be doing a big exhale, humming out through the nose. I'm going to take my inhale and then begin to hum. 2 more. Just coming to rest, choosing whether you need palms down or up, on the lap, the legs. One way might feel more natural, more right for you in this moment. Noticing the breath, noticing almost the after effects on the body, the senses. Here we observe this moment. Whatever arises, let it be. No judgment. And then when it feels right for you, gently begin to blink open those eyes. And just take in your surroundings now through the eyes without letting the eyes search too far. Just seeing the periphery of your space, the room that you're within. And it might even be useful just to label a couple of objects that might be there around you. A mindful way to ground, come back to the being mode. And then when it feels right, gently bring yourself onto all fours, and we'll start to work straight into some cat-cows here. So placing hands beneath the shoulders, knees beneath those hips, slowly soften the belly down and begin to lift the heart, inhaling, and then rounding out that spine, exhaling. I like to open the mouth side away. You're so welcome to join me. Doing that a couple more rounds, just finding a little space through the torso, the spine, through the shoulders. We'll be coming back to this simple wave of the spine a couple more times through our practice today. So just noticing perhaps if there's any little sticky hot spots throughout the ripple of the spine. And again, we're just observing, not judging, just seeing what arises, what may be here. And let's go for one more round. And then if you're comfortable going there, we're actually going to work into puppy pose. So if we can, we'll keep the hips above those knees and then just start to walk those hands a little further forwards on the mat. Now, for some of us, we might need to pad out the knees. So feel free to double up the mat there or bring a cushion or a blanket in. But otherwise, in time, slowly seeing if you can gently land the forehead to the earth. A wonderful way to ground and to feel connected to the ground and earth. Notice the touch, the sensation of mat on forehead. And I also invite you just to notice if there's any discomfort arising for you here. Please do always adjust the body as needed. It doesn't have to match and look identical to myself. It could be that you need the elbows wider. Perhaps you would like to place your forehead on top of the hands instead, bringing hands closer together. Maybe you notice that there's some discomfort in the hip flexors and you need the hips further back or a little further forwards. Explore expansive breath through the front of the body, so feel the rib cage expand as you inhale. Feel the belly expand as you inhale, maybe even pushing your torso away from the thighs. And then as you exhale, attempt to find a little more room, space, and softness. So Taurus energy, I'm not sure if you heard my mascot Phoenix there. She was enjoying that sensation of letting go too. But the Taurus energy, they're very family orientated. They love to be surrounded by people and bring people together. But they can also have a certain amount of stubbornness within them. And perhaps not really a fan of change. So we'll be exploring this idea of change and being okay with change, or seeing if we can adapt to change. And then slowly lifting yourself back up onto those hands, bringing the hands in a little bit closer again, directly underneath the shoulders. So if any of you have wrist issues, it could be that you would prefer to bring your hands into a fist shape, or you could do this onto your forearms, but if possible, stay up onto the hands or the fists. And we're just going to build a little bit of toning into the belly, into the core here. So finding that stability, that core strength. And if we can, we're going to have the toes untucked, but if you need to, you could also tuck the toes here. But I'm going to see if we can just start by pressing down through the top of the feet, or if you've got the toes tucked, press down through those toes, and just see if you can start to strengthen up through the quads, through those legs and the thighs, and see if it's possible to hover your knees just off the earth. And that might be just for a second or for a breath. And just test yourself out again. See if you can just hover those knees up off the earth. Feel into your strength within your center, your core, the stabilizing muscles starting to switch on. We'll do that one more time. And this time, if it's possible, you're going to hover and hold for 3. If not, lower back down for 2. And for 1. Drop the knees, shift the hips back towards the heels. If you can, lower the forehead just for 1 breath, and then slowly lift yourself back up and step your left foot forwards. So it might have been that your foot only got about halfway. Grab the ankle, see if you can pull it a little further forwards here. So I'm attempting to have left knee roughly on top of that left heel at this stage, and just seeing what is available. If you've got some blocks, you could always bring those into play, have them underneath those hands. But we'll just add a little bit of gentle swaying motion here back and forth. So we're not having to straighten through the front leg completely, but just seeing what might be available at this stage of our practice. And it's always a good idea to see if you can link that movement to your breath. So the breath actually is the leader of our movement. It's our guide. And you might inhale, lean the hips back, and exhale, lean forwards, or vice versa, just whatever's kind of working for you here. And we'll do 2 more of those. And then come to meet me with that left leg bent one more time, and walk your hands to the inside of that left foot. We're going to pivot on the back knee. Remember, you could have that double up of the mat if you need a little extra padding, but I'm going to start to bring the right foot out behind me to the left side of the mat, and then start to extend the left leg. So left foot's to the front of your mat, often referred to as gate pose. I've turned the toes in and I'm trying to flatten through that left foot. If you need to, you could always have toes slightly out. Try not to turn them to the front of the mat. Bring your hands over to the right side. I'm going to shuffle a little away from my sofa. And then keeping the right hand to the earth, let's open up, a little bit like bow and arrow action here. So I'm going to draw my left hand along the inside of the right arm. Maybe it draws across the front of the chest and the heart space, tracing a line all the way up to the ceiling. And if it's comfortable, turn your gaze upwards here. So you don't have to do this, but I quite like to take hold of the back of the head. So I've reached my left hand through the back of the head, taken hold of it like I'm cradling it here. And if it's comfy, you're turning the gaze up. If not, keep the gaze more to the side. And then we'll do a couple of little clam sort of open and closes here, trying to find a little bit of movement little bit of mobility through the thoracic, the upper spine. So dropping the left elbow downwards, gazing down, and then opening as you inhale. Let's do 2 more of those. They may not look identical to me. You're just working with what is available in terms of space for you. Opening as we inhale. 1 more time. Last time to open on up. I'm going to reach the left arm back up. And then this time thread left arm underneath the right arm. So it's like threading the needle here. And you're going to see if you can look out underneath that right arm. So I've turned my head towards the right side. And it could be that you have grabbed a pillow again from your sofa. Maybe you've placed it underneath the left side of your head. I've chosen to reach right arm away from my face. I quite like that stabilizing sort of feeling of pressing down, but you do not have to. Whatever's comfortable through the right foot, it might be toes tucked or untucked. I like to press down gently through that right hand to see if my right shoulder might lift a little bit higher towards the ceiling. And last breath. We're going to slowly work our way back to center. So bringing the right hand closer towards your face will help lift your torso up from the ground. Open that left arm 1 more time. Reach it up. Find space through heart center, anahata. And then lower the hand and pivot your way towards the front of the mat. Walk the hands forwards. We'll peel the back knee off the ground. So we're in a low lunge. Knee is lifted. We're going to do a little gentle rock or gentle kick off through the back foot to step it up. Top of your mat, gentle forward fold. At this point, feet at hip width, soften through the knees. I invite you to take hold of the inside of the elbows into your ragdoll. Uttanasana. Let your head be heavy. Maybe you take a little few sways, oscillations through the head, a yes, a no. And then lowering the hands down towards the earth. We're going to ripple and roll our way all the way up to stand. Gently roll those shoulders back. And we've made it to the top of our mat. We're going to integrate our first sun salutation here at this point, taking things really nice and steady and slow. Nothing too fancy here. Reach the arms on up, inhale, maybe take the gaze up. Gently forward fold, softening the knees, Uttanasana. Take a halfway lift, draw the fingers to the shins if you like. We'll step back either to downward facing dog or to high plank. Maybe you'll then join us in high plank. Perhaps at this point you drop the knees. You're welcome to stay in your downward dog or join us in chaturanga. Lowering the heart, I'm choosing to lower all the way to the earth today. Roll the shoulder blades back lightly, lift through the heart, engaging gently through the core. Shift the hips back either straight to downward dog or perhaps snuggle through child's pose and then downward dog. Remembering that it is your practice, your body. This is today, not yesterday or tomorrow. I'm choosing to pedal out in that first downward facing dog. You might lift a hip, a shoulder. You might come up onto those tippy toes. And then gently drop the knees to the earth. And we'll step the right foot forwards this time. So into that low lunge, once again, take a few moments to arrange your body where you need it to be, roughly placing that right knee on top of the right heel. And we're swaying back and forth here. Remember, if you need it, you could always double up the mat there and give yourself a little extra cushioning support. So back and forth gently with those hips, not worrying too much if you're completely straightening through the front leg or not. Let's go for that 2 more times. pause, bending through the right knee, bring both hands to the inside of that right foot, and then we start to pivot. So I like to lift the back toes first, then tuck them away off the mat behind me, walk the hands over to the left side, and then pivot those right toes in. If you can, flatten through that right foot. Remember, if you need support, double up the mat or bring cushion underneath that left leg. Left hand to the earth, right hand to the sky. Tracing those fingers up. Maybe you've turned the gaze up. You might choose to stay right here or take hold of the back of your head, creating a bent elbow in the sky. And then we'll close down. We'll take 3 rounds, creating a little bit of mobility through the thoracic, through heart space. Seeing if we can open up through the chakras, create space for energy to flow. I'm going to go for 1 more closing down, 1 more lifting up. Expand through the top arm. Inhale, and then dive that right arm underneath the left. We're turning ourselves into that threaded needle. So you might have to move further back or forwards, just finding space. Perhaps you've placed something underneath the left side. The right side of your face. I choose to press down through the left hand, but you might have it further in front of you, just whatever works. I attempt to lift the left shoulder a little more as I press down through that left hand. Noticing if breath is getting caught anywhere in particular. Can you find a little more space? Seeing if you can observe subtle changes within the body that are happening right now. Through breath, through energy, through sensations. And then slowly coming back down with both hands to center, slowly pivoting your way to the front edge of your mat. We're going to bring the hands to frame that right foot, lift through the left knee, so we're in this nice deep lunge, and then a gentle push off through the left leg as you step it up, forward fold. Let yourself dangle for 1 more breath, generous bend in the knees, let the head be heavy, and then we'll slowly unravel all the way up. Perhaps a little shrug of the shoulders here. So making our way to the top of our mats, or you could always turn to face me in a different direction. We're going to work through our tree pose from here. Come to stand into your right foot. I'm going to do a little mirror opposite now, just because I'm facing directly onto that camera. Make it a little bit easier for you. So onto your right foot, spread the toes out. You could always come off the mat if that's more stable for you. And then I invite you just to see where we're at with stability today. So it could be that you're placing that left foot to inner ankle. Maybe you're placing that left foot a little higher. I try to avoid placing it directly onto the knee joint. It might have to happen, and if you've got very safe and strong ligaments, that's fine, but on the whole, we tend to try to go above or below that knee joint. You could also use your hands to help out, press foot to thigh, and then we want to do a little gentle squeeze of the glutes to widen that left knee. So see if you can lightly squeeze glutes, widen the knee, hands to heart space. Remember to ground down, so press into the foot that's on the earth, spread the toes. Maybe you're going to explore growing those branches of your tree, opening up through those arms. Taking 2 more breaths, keep coming back to the smoothness of your breath and focus your gaze. And then gently bring your hands back through heart space. We'll gently release. You might have already come out of the pose, and that's okay. And then just plant the feet. I love to just take a moment here before we even think about the second side. Plant the feet, close the eyes or lower the gaze. Arms relax beside the body. And take in this moment. No need to be anywhere else other than right here. All of us resist change, not just the Taurus energy, but all of us resist change. It's human nature to know what is ahead of us. Are there any challenges in your life right now that you've been facing because you've been so rigid against change? Is it possible on our mats, in our next tree pose, to bring this visualization into play? Whatever happens on this second side is meant to be, and that's okay. So if we fall over, we fall over. That's okay. So when you're ready, setting yourself up for the second side, whatever you haven't done, spread the toes out. And again, just testing out stability. You may choose to stay with the foot to the earth. Perhaps you're exploring bringing that foot higher. Maybe you keep those thumbs into heart space. Remember, a little squeeze of the glutes can help. Try to widen the knee, so we try to avoid being really relaxed here. There is a sense of stability from our core, from our center, this lifting up. And if you choose, you might grow those branches. Two more breaths. And then slow and steady, bring yourself back to center. Feet earthed, arms relaxed. Can we embrace the subtleties of change all around us? Change can also have elements of renewal and excitement too. When you feel ready, bringing ourselves once again to the top of our mats. Let's take that second sun salutation. We've not done many today. Reach those arms up and forward fold. Take a halfway lift. Step or float your way back. I'm choosing to take high plank. You may choose to take your downward dog. If you want to, join me now with knees to the earth from your plank, chaturanga, all the way down. Inhale, lift the heart. We're going to do that 2 more times. Lower the heart and then lift the heart. Inhale, little core engagement. Open up through the throat. Exhale, soften down. Maybe there's a little bit more room this time. Inhale, pause. If it's okay, take the gaze up. I'm pressing down through those hands, engaging lightly through core. Last breath. And then gently bring those hips back towards the heels. Forehead towards the earth. We rest in child's. And then when you feel ready, we'll be setting ourselves up onto our spine, onto our backs. Choosing to rest in a Shavasana pose that feels right for you. Sometimes I like to change the shape of my legs depending on how my spine or hips are feeling. You could always grab a cushion, place it behind the knees. I invite you here to bring a hand to heart, a hand to the belly. 3 breaths. Fill the space beneath the palms. And then finally rest. Shavasana. And when you feel ready to move again, just start to take in your surroundings with sound first. And then take in the light above your eyelids. Perhaps taste. Even smells. Begin to gather your knees in and roll to one side. Gently lift your way up. And we'll sit, palms resting down on the thighs. Close the eyes and send a little well wish in towards yourself. It could be simply, I wish you well. From me to you, I wish you well.
If you enjoyed today's class, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're interested in learning how you can align your yoga practice based on the current planetary positions, visit discoverastroyoga.com and join the Astro Yoga experience.